All right, guys, thank you so much for making this a priority, joining live and being here. This is going to be one of my favorite calls with one of my favorite people. One of my, there's multiple levels of awesome in Beachbody, but I think for Rob and myself, one of the most significant parts of what we love about coaching is the people that we get to meet on the corporate side. And for many of you guys, you're just getting started out, or you don't know about all the different realms and dimensions that there are to this business, but there is a dedicated and devoted team that works for Beachbody Corporate that is in the field, you know, getting to know leaders, figuring out what's going on, developing all the awesome trainings like Coach Business or Coach Basics and First 30, all the different resources that we have when we get to utilize and share with our teams are because of these incredible people. And Kim Carver is someone that we have gotten to work with personally, and he has he's definitely challenged us just to be better coaches, be better leaders with his example. If you don't already have him as a friend on Facebook, he's somebody that inspires us as a parent, as a leader, as a human, as an athlete, and we're just honored that he's here tonight to share with our team.
Yeah, and I think I just want to give a little bit of context about not why Kim's here, but I want to just go back and talk a little bit about this night that we had back in the fall. Kim came down to Orlando. I think it was in the fall.
And Kim travels all over, I think the continent at this point, and hosts incredible trainings on the vital behavior mastery.
Yeah, and so there was the event was awesome. And that's kind of the hard thing about when you get into a leadership role is you kind of have to humble yourself and remember there's so much stuff to learn all the time. And even if you think you've got it, the moment that you stop and say, I've got it, is the moment that you start missing out on things. And what he shared with us that night had such a huge impact that when he said, hey, what do you guys want me to talk about?
We knew.
It was like, we want you to share that story. We want to share really I think they call it the meat and potatoes, the meat and potatoes of how you can really be successful in this business and how you can really simplify things. And I know we always hear different people say, just simplify it.
Keep it
he has such a good way of sharing stories that you can relate to that really share not only how simplifying your business, but simplifying your life can really lead to success to everything. So we thought it was super appropriate. We thought it was a great message that we wanted to share with you. So
without further ado, the one, the only Executive Director of Field Development and Training, Mr. Kim Carver himself.
I have no idea how to live up to that 4-minute intro, you two. I mean, we can dial back the expectations and then everyone will go away happy here. So, no, I'm actually super excited to be here. This is a call that I was really looking forward to. I really like this team. Chelsea and Robin, how much I appreciate and respect them and the way that they build their business, the way that they're teaching you guys to do it. I hope that you appreciate and you value them for what they do, because you really are very fortunate to have them in support. And I say that in all sincerity. Just genuine good people. There's no pretenses. There's no facades there. What you see is what you get with them, and I've always really, really appreciated that through the fun conversations I've had with them in the past, and through the not so through the tougher conversations that we've had to have a few times too. There's always been that common, I think, level, that foundation of values and of commitment and of integrity that's always really resonated with me, and so that's something that's very, very admirable and awesome about this team. And so it was interesting as I was driving home. I kid you not. Part of the reason why I was 2 minutes late getting on is because I was sitting here in my bedroom. So just, I'm home right now. I just got home from work 15 minutes ago, and I kissed the kids and chatted for a second. And I came into my bedroom and I shut the door. So if they start pounding on the door in advance, I'm just going to say sorry. But I sat here and I was just looking down. I was I had prepared this sheet of notes. Here's all the things I want to talk about. And then on the way home, I was just I don't know. And it just wasn't sitting with me. So I've learned in the past that when I have those moments I need to trust that. So I just put the notes down. I threw it over there across the bed here so I won't have any temptation to go pick it up. And I just want to talk to you. I want to talk to you coaches. And I want to come at you really from my heart. And I want to come at you in a way that hopefully will stick and share with you some thoughts and some ideas that hopefully will make you better. That will hopefully, for all of you on this call, one thing you all have in common is there's a next step that's waiting for you to take. And some of you are primed and ready to take that next step. And others of you honestly are self-sabotaging, hemming and hawing, overcomplicating it, and doing everything you can to keep you from taking that step. You're going through the other motions where you're treading water, and you're doing everything you can to feel busy to not take that step. And I want to talk to both of you if I can tonight. And I'm going to keep in tune with what Rob was talking about around the fundamentals. And I'm going to share a specific story that he talked about, an experience that I had, and then I'm going to share another story. So you guys are going to have to deal with two stories tonight, if that's okay. And I like to teach with stories because I find stories make the principles stick. If I just got here with bullet points, you would be like, oh, that was a really nice bullet points. And then 10 minutes from now, you wouldn't even think about it. If I can stick in your brain with a story, then maybe it has a chance of actually being long enough that you can apply it. So I thought about the team, and I thought I'm sitting here with my hands on my nightstand here, looking down at my computer, waiting to log into Zoom. And I'm like, these coaches have access to some of the best leadership in the network. And they've been told and they've been taught over and over again about the importance of the fundamentals. The fundamentals of this business. Guys, look, there's nothing I could probably tell you tonight from a tactical executional standpoint and how to do the fundamentals that Chelsea and Ron and your team haven't already told you 10 times better than I could tell you. But there's something I think I can add. And maybe it's just a reaffirmation of what they've told you. But I want you to feel for just a second an understanding of maybe why they're so important and maybe why it's so hard for some of you to do them and why it's hard for some of you to get traction when you do them. Okay? The fundamentals obviously are important. Because they're the fundamentals for a reason, you guys. And I'm totally freestyling here, so if this is all herky-jerky, bear with me, but I'm just going to flow here. They're the fundamentals for a reason. Our business, you guys, it's not easy, but it's not complicated. And I want you to think about that term for a second. It's not easy, but it's not complicated. And the reason why I want you to understand that is because sometimes whenever we face things that are difficult, in our brains we think, well, because this is hard, the solution must be complicated. It must be equally as hard. And that's not the case in this situation. Really, what we do is not easy because we work with people. What we do isn't easy for a lot of you because you're not used to thinking like entrepreneurs yet. You're not used to thinking with the disciplines, and you haven't developed some of the skills that you need to do that. You can get all of that. All of that stuff is there if you will stay focused, okay? They're the fundamentals for a reason. We do not need to overcomplicate what we do. At the end of the day, guys, we instill belief into people by what we do. We raise our hands and we're the one person in their life where everyone else around them is allowing them to embrace mediocrity and kind of settle for things, and they're more preoccupied with giving them comfort than giving them solutions. We're the ones that raise our hand and we say, we're going to step in and we will help you make a change. And I'm not going to tell you it's going to be easy. It's not a pill. It's not a powder. It's not something else that you can keep living the way you have been to get those same results, because that lifestyle is what got you here. That kind of thinking is what got you here. It's going to take some discipline, and it's going to take some habit changing, and it's going to take some sacrifice. But you know what? You can do it. And the best part is I've got the solutions, and you're not going to do it alone. You're that person, and that their belief in themselves starts with your belief in them. That confidence, that fundamental part of doing what we do, being proof the products work, telling that story, and then inviting is just helping people make the decision to start. Guys, look, when it comes to inviting, and I say this in my trainings all the time, if the people you were talking to were good at making positive decisions for their health and fitness, you probably wouldn't be talking to them. Of course they don't have money for it. They're not used to budgeting for that kind of stuff yet. Of course they don't have time with it. They're not used to doing that yet. That's why they need you. That's why they need you. Recognition, celebrating, positivity, breathing life into people who their whole life have had the crap beat out of them by themselves and by other people about how they look, how they feel about themselves. Recognition, reaching in and being positive, creating that culture on your team that celebrates achievement, celebrates the effort and the engagement and showing up and doing the work, and personal development. Investing in myself, setting the example for yourself of denying your own existence of mediocrity, of saying, I want to find and discover the very best version of myself. I will take the self-discipline and the sacrifices necessary to find the very best person that I can be. And that self-discipline and that sacrifice elevates your thinking. It changes you. It gives you back your power when it comes to the choices that you make. And as you embrace that power of the choices to influence the outcomes in your life, you guys, that is infectious to people. They want that. They want that so bad. And as that becomes a part of who you are, not only are you better, but it gives permission to those people around you to be better themselves, okay? And as silly as that sounds, I have seen that over and over and over again. So those basics, those vital behaviors, guys, yeah, get into you've got to learn the skills behind those things. Skills of starting conversations, skill of telling your story on social media, skill of overcoming concerns, helping people see value, all those things. I know you have access to those kind of trainings. I know you've got, but do not lose the purpose behind those things, because it's the purpose that will fuel you. It's the purpose that will attract other people to you, okay? People are attracted to what you do as much as they are to why you do what you do. So don't get so caught up in that you forget the why behind it, okay? So now, and I'm sorry, I'm just going. So I hope if this doesn't make any sense, you can ask me questions at the end. So why? Why don't people do the fundamental? Why do they not? If it's just laid out there, we've taken years and years and refined it down to these simple points. If we don't do that, why? Why do coaches not do this? Okay? In my experience, there's really two things. Well, maybe three. The first one could be they just don't know what to do yet, okay? And that's where you just have to jump in and get going, right? But to me, that one isn't as big as problem as these next two, and that's why I want to focus on. The first one is impatience. People get very impatient with the fundamentals of the business. They are used to thinking like employees, where they trade time for money. I go to work, I spend 40 hours a week or 60 hours a week, I get a paycheck, right? And if I'm really good at what I do, my paycheck's bigger. And if I suck at what I do, my paycheck's smaller. And if I'm hourly, it's really defined on the hours that I work, right? But I trade time for money. At the end of the day, though, you are now a business owner, which is awesome, because as a coach, you now have access to ownership, an ownership compensation model. But you have to understand how that's unlocked. Ownership compensation isn't dictated by time like an employee. Ownership compensation is dictated by value created. They get compensated based on the value that they create, and creating value takes time. Up front, there is a heck of a lot more time committed than payment, because that's the price you pay to create that value. Having that mindset of thinking like a business owner, okay, and understanding really that my ownership compensation model is dictated by the value that I create, not the hours that I log, which is awesome, because in the front, it's kind of a heavy price to pay as you build that value, but as you build that value, that's what allows you to make a heck of a lot more money than the time you give into it. That's why ownership compensation is so awesome. They're impatient about it, so they don't understand it. The second reason why, and I might get out of order because I'm just going to start talking, but the second reason why is coaches, they get impatient with the fundamentals because they believe there's a secret. They may not say it that way, but they're enamored with this idea that there's some secret script, some secret approach, some secret group that just tells them what to do, and they just get so they buy books that tell them the 10 secrets to growing your network marketing business, the 7 secrets to doing this, the 8, and people make millions of dollars convincing you that there's a secret. There's not a secret. You guys, I'm sorry, I promise. It's not like you come to leadership, in the fall, and we go, okay, look, you're all 5 stars now, so you've earned the right to know what the secret is. Here it is. We don't know. That doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. And so this feeling that I'm inadequate, This feeling that I'm not good at this because I don't know the secret, this feeling that everybody else has it figured out except for me. And if I just need to copy this script or do this thing, I lose the authenticity of me. And it gets lost in this quest to try to think I need to be somebody else. This quest to think that the secret is out there. That's like an X-Files tagline, but you know what I'm saying, right? That's where you start to get goofed up. So you have to be conscious of that. There is no secret. Stop chasing the secrets. Take the time to learn the skills. Okay? Learn the skills behind it. How do I start conversations? How do I add people to my network? Well, how do I help people get started? Okay, inviting. When people have a price concern, how can I address that? Because I know they're just not used to this yet. Or when people have a concern about that, those are skills that get developed over and over time, which leads me to the third point. The reason why they get impatient. The reason why they get impatient with the fundamentals is because they spend a lot of their time comparing. And this is related to the secret, but it's also a little bit different. The secret is like this never-ending quest to change who I think I need to be, and that feeds into the comparison game. Look at that person. Look over here. Look what this is. It looks so much easier for them. I started that coach. I started about the same time. Look where they're at. I've been at this for 3 years. Look where I'm at right now. I should be over here. I should. All these things that are comparison. That's, again, in the process of denying the world of who I am, feeling like I need to be somebody else, chasing something else that's external to me, instead of just realizing that you have everything you need to be successful just right inside of you. You just have to unlock you. You have to let it go. You have to unleash you on your business, okay? And you cannot do that when you are lost and robbing yourself of the joy and of the experience of your business through comparison. This is the story that Rob wanted me to tell you. The way that I hope coaches see this is through an experience I had when we first moved into this house we live in right now. We lived in New York for several years. And we moved back to Utah. My parents were here. My dad wasn't doing well, so we moved back to try to help. And we were back. We rented a house for a little while, and we were looking to buy a place. And we were looking at all these different houses, and we walked into this house we're in now. And when we walked to the front door, right at the front of the front door are these stairs that go up to the second level. And the first thing that I noticed when we came in this house was the banister. Now, not because the banister is like some beautiful ornate, it's just a standard banister, but what I noticed was how the banister was painted. It was, and maybe some of you have seen paint jobs like this, but it was so smooth. It looked like vinyl to me. I went up to it and I was like, is this plastic? Like, who puts like a plastic banister in a house? But no, it was paint. It was legitimately, it was like glass. It was so smooth. And I'd always marveled when I'd see paint jobs like that. I was convinced that there was some like secret painters guild, right? Where they like teach you how to make paint look like this. They're like, it's, paint with like 3 drops of turpentine, 2 drops of paint thinner, like an eye of newt, and like a hair from a dog. I don't know what formula they used to like concoct this paint that when you painted it, it just looked like glass. And I remember just marveling at this. And we ended up buying the house. And I found out a few weeks after we'd moved in, and I was mentioning this to one of the neighbors that came over and greeted us. And I showed him the banister, and I talked about it. And the guy said, well, the guy who painted all of these houses in this development actually lives two streets down. He's kind of in our neighborhood. His name is Steve. And I was like, wow, I got to ask this guy someday how we did. I wanted to know the secrets, because whenever I paint, it never looks like that. Never looks like that. So about 4 or 5 months later, we had this barbecue where we invited people around from the neighborhood to kind of get to know our family. Most of the boxes at that point had been put away, or at least hidden where they couldn't be seen by the neighbors. And Steve was there. And I'm going around, and I'm trying to kind of make small talk and get to know people. And I see Steve, and now I've got this golden opportunity to find out what they teach them in the Secret Painters Guild on how to make paint look so smooth. And I walk up to him like, hey, Steve, how you doing? We start talking for a second. I say, hey, I was told that you painted all these houses, including this one. He goes, yep. He goes, I know every inch of your house. And I was like, awesome. I've got a question for you, Steve. I said, I have always wondered how you make paint look like that. And I pointed at the banister. And I kid you not, you guys, I was like almost ready to bust out my phone so I could take some notes on this formula the guy had. And he looks at me and he goes, it's easy. It's patience. I mean, that was a letdown right there. Patience. And okay, Steve, well, you got to explain that, because I promise you, I have been compelled to paint many times in my life from my wonderful wife, who likes to paint things in my house a lot. In fact, she was doing that today. And I said, mine never looks like that. And he goes, okay, I'll tell you exactly what I did on that banister. He goes, the first thing I do is I come in and I sand it down. I said, got it. That's what I do in Boy Scouts. Sand the pine wood derby card before you paint it. I know that. He goes, after you sand it, you put on a thin layer of paint. Now that stopped me because I take the different approach to painting. Like if I go in and my wife says, we need to paint this wall, and I go down to Home Depot and they're like, okay, well, you're going to need 2 coats of primer and 3 coats. I'm like, in my mind, I'm thinking, well, or you could just do one really thick coat of paint and get it done quick, right? And so when he said it's a thin coat of paint, I'm like, all right, already we're deviating here. And he said, and after you put on that layer of paint, you let it dry, and then you sand it. Hold on, Steve. Slow your roll here, buddy. You sand the paint you just put on the freaking banister. I was like, doesn't that defeat the purpose of putting on the paint in the first place? He goes, you don't sand it till the paint's gone. He goes, no, not all the paint leaves, but if you rub your hand over it after that first coat, it's really rough. There's bumps all over it. And so the sanding just knocks down some of those bumps. You sand it until it's smooth. And then you put on another thin layer of paint. And then you wait till it dries. And then you sand out the rough spots. And then you put on another third layer of paint. And you sand it. And it's just sanding and painting. It's sanding and painting. It's sanding and painting until, bam, all of a sudden, it looks like that. A lot of you on this call, when it comes to the fundamentals, especially around inviting and expanding your network and those kind of pieces that really require you to come outside of yourself, your impatience and thinking there's a secret and comparison is a lot like this sanding and painting analogy. You come into a beautiful house like the one Chelsea and Rob are building for themselves, and you see their banister. And you're like, oh my gosh, that's an amazing banister. And then you start building your own house, and you look at your banister with that first layer of paint on it, and you go, that sucks. Look at how rough it is. This is all, and you start getting your mind all crazy, and you think you're a failure. And all of a sudden, every invite you do, every person you talk to, like your worth as a human being and your whole future as a coach is dependent on their decision. They didn't sign up to have that kind of pressure put on them, okay? But that's the way you're thinking. And the reason why is you've lost perspective. You're comparing thousands of layers of sanding and painting to your dozens of layers. I wish this was like the Matrix, you guys, right? We could just upload experience into you, but you're the only one that can experience your business. It's sanding and painting. So when you go out and every time you make an invite, that's putting on a thin layer of paint, you guys. And they're going to be rough ones. You're going to verbally vomit all over some people. You're going to make mistakes when you try to expand your network. You're going to try attraction marketing, and you're going to create this avatar. And then after a while, you're like, that's not the avatar I should create. You're going to make all kinds of mistakes. And you're going to get, if you're not careful, you're not going to give yourself any grace to be learning. You will afford everyone else that you know all the grace in the world to be learning, and you will deny that very same thing for yourself. So I want you to think about it in sanding and painting. You'll make a mistake. So what? You bust out the sandpaper. How does the sandpaper? It's what I learned for. Okay, so why did I verbally vomit all over that person? Well, they asked this question. All of a sudden, I went on this tangent. Okay, mentally, now I know better next time. Sanding and painting. I'll get better. I put on another thin layer of paint. It's sanding and painting and sanding. And guys, over time, that process of learning, of getting better, is what makes the fundamentals really become powerful for you and your business. But you will never get there if after a dozen layers of sanding and painting you go, well, I guess this isn't right. I have to go find something else. I'm going to go spend $300 on Amazon to find the secrets of network marketing books, okay? So that's the first thing, okay, was you're too impatient with fundamentals. The last one, the one I want to close with here, is your approach. Your approach to the fundamentals. And this one, I want to be delicate because I don't want to offend. But because I love you guys and I love this team, I'm going to be direct and hope that you guys know where I'm coming from, okay? When it comes to actually engaging with your business, applying these fundamentals we talk about, okay? Your approach matters. And this is what I mean. I'm going to frame it this way. Too many of you are playing not to lose instead of playing to win. Playing not to lose is defensive. Playing not to lose is reactive. Playing not to lose is coming at your business from a place of fear. Playing not to lose is coming at your business in such a way that you feel like you're being safe and responsible and conservative. And all those nice words we use to allow ourselves to feel good about hedging and not really committing to something. And it does impact how people perceive what you're doing. Playing to win is different. Playing to win doesn't mean you're going to be perfect. Far from it. Playing to win means that I'm on offense, that my mindset, my choices are being made not from a place of fear, but from a place of belief and a place of faith. Those two ideas cannot coexist in your mind at the same time. Either you believe in your business and what you're doing, or you don't. One of those two things is going to be there. And I'm not talking about what you say. I'm talking about what you believe here. Either I believe I'm going to be successful, or I'm afraid that I'm not going to be successful. And so all my actions are based according to those beliefs. And they sound the same, but they're very, very different. I want to give you a story to illustrate that point. So right now, I had the honor of coaching my son's Little League team. I'm one of the assistant coaches. And one of the things that you're responsible for that I really try to help teach the kids, he's 11, okay? So I'm teaching, 11, 12-year-olds. And one of the things, obviously you have to teach them the fundamentals, the skills of baseball. But you also have to teach them the mindset of baseball. You have to teach them how to play to win, especially at this age. When they're practice, like for example, when my son's practicing, and I'll be pitching batting practice, I will go take my hat and I will put it somewhere in center field. And I will tell the kids, anyone who hits a ball past that hat gets a candy bar. And so when they get up there to hit, their dominant thought is to hit the ball past that hat. They're not up there worried about striking out, about missing the ball, about people laughing at them, about them not getting, they're not thinking about any of that. They're thinking about, I want to get that candy bar. And I'm going to hit that ball out past that hat. And they act differently. They come at it from a place of belief. Every swing, they're swinging really hard. They're swinging to come at the ball. But then something happens in the game. When they get to the game and the pressures of the game come, their mindset shifts. And the best place to see it again is when they're up to bat, because it's just them, right? In the game, when they get up to bat, their mindset shifts for a lot of the kids away from hitting the ball, getting in the batter's box and playing to win the freaking game, to hit the ball, to this, I don't want to strike out. I hope I walk. Oh my gosh, is this going to be a strike or a ball? Is this going to be a strike or a ball? And all they can think about is they just want to get on base, okay? And they're coming at that decision from a place of fear, and the result is they fail more often. The reality that we focus on the most, the things we choose to focus on the most creates our reality. And they get in that batter's box, and that's what they're thinking. And you just you coach them at it. And some coaches, bless their hearts, like whenever I hear this, I want to go out and punch him in the face. And some of you that play baseball have probably heard this. It happened 3 games ago. Coach is on third base, and his kid's up to bat, and he says, he gets 3 balls and like 1 strike. And he tells the kid, hey, buddy, walk's as good as a hit. Now, in his mind, he's saying walk's as good as a hit because you'll get on base. But in my brain, it drives me crazy because anyone who plays the games knows that statement is complete bullcrap. A walk is not as good. If you've ever hit the freaking ball, if you've ever got in a batter's box, had a pitch come, and hit the ball and run to first base and know you succeeded because you got in that batter's box to play the game instead of getting that batter's box hoping not to fail, which for a lot of these kids, that's what walking is, they know that's not true. And whenever I hear that, I always go to my boys, I'm like, guys, that's not true. I tell my kids, when they're in that batter's box, I don't care if it's a ball or if it's a strike. If you can hit it, I want you hitting the ball. I want you in there playing the game. There's a difference between playing to win and playing not to lose. 3 games ago, it was a big game for us. Our team was in first place, tied with this other team for first place. The winner of this game would take first place in the league, and going into the state tournament would have a better seed. this was a big game. I mean, it's just a little league tournament, but like a lot of people were coming to watch this game. The boys were well aware of it. They knew what was going on. I was driving to the game with my son Joshua. My son Joshua, I be careful because I don't hope he's not listening to this because he'll get self-conscious. But he's a beautiful boy. God has given him a very soft spirit, meaning he is just so empathetic and he's sensitive, partly because I've got 2 older kids with special needs, and so he's kind of grown up learning about that. But he is, by his nature, he is a pleaser. And in some ways that's so awesome because he does everything to try to make people happy and all those kind of, but at the same time, that pleasing attitude can really make him get focused on not failing. And so things like games and other pieces are sources of big anxiety for him. Not because he's afraid they're going to lose, but because he's afraid he's going to do something wrong, that he's going to fail. And baseball's been a real opportunity for me to try to help him learn that mindset, okay? And so we're driving down to the game, and he's quiet. And I lean over, hey, big game tonight, Josh. I'm just trying to have a conversation. He goes, yeah. He goes, Dad, I'm nervous. And I said, I know, Merv. I'm nervous too, buddy. And I said, but it's okay to be nervous before games because we don't know how they're going to end up, and we hope that they end up well. And he says, I know, Dad, I know, but I'm nervous. I just hope I play well. And I said, buddy, I want you to play the game. And if you do your best, that's all that will matter. So we get down there, and the game starts, and we get an early lead. We're up by a couple runs, and we're going down into their home team. And so they, in what would end up being the last inning, we were home team. They get in the top, what would be the last inning. They score 2 runs in the top of that inning to tie the game. So the game's tied. And I know we're running into a time limit and everything, and we're getting up, and I'm kind of watching where Joshua is. And I know that he's coming up. He's about 4, 5, 6 hitters away. And so I'm like, okay. And in my heart, you guys, I was praying. I'm like, just don't put him in a situation like that. I don't know if he can handle it. I don't know. And I was getting nervous for my boy. And the inning starts, and the first kid gets up, and he hits a single, and he gets on first base. And then he steals second base. And then the next kid walks. And then so we have guys on first and second base. The next kid gets up, and he strikes out. The next kid gets up, and he walks. So now we've got bases loaded. There's 1 out. We're in a tie game. And my son's up to bat. And I'm sorry, you guys. He stood in there, and my whole time, my heart, I am just like, I'm praying. I'm like, please, just let him see some success here. I know the anxiety that he's going through. I know what's happening in his brain. And I'm coaching third base, and I just like, oh my gosh. And he gets a strike on him and a ball and then another strike. He got 2 balls and 1 strike, 2 balls and 1 strike. And I can see him. He's hesitant. He's in there, and he's hoping to walk. Because if he walks, then the winning run comes in. Walks as good as a hit. And I can just see it. And so I call timeout, and I wave him down. And I realize in that moment he needs a dad more than he needs a coach. So I just put my arm around him, and I just said, buddy, take a deep breath. And he's like, Dad, I'm nervous. And I said, I know, bud. I'm nervous too. And I said, but let me tell you something right now. I said, I want you to hit the ball, Joshua. When you're in that batter's box, I want you to think about hitting the ball. I don't want you to think about walking, Josh. It is about playing the game. And so when you're in there, and when you're in there, I want you looking for a ball to hit. And if he throws you a ball, I don't care if it's a ball or a strike. I don't want you to worry about that. I want you to have a hitter's mindset and think, if I can hit that ball, I want to hit it. And Joshua, I would rather have you go up there and swing hard and strike out than go up there and be hesitant. I believe in you, buddy. Go do your best. And he walked in, and he's kind of used to getting the Tony Robbins talks from his dad. Bless his heart. He grows up around this crap all the time. So he gets in the batter's box. The next pitch was a strike. And so he had 2 balls and 2 strikes. He stepped down, looked at me, and I just said, hit the ball. Next pitch was a ball. And the next pitch came down, and he stepped into it, and his weight was back, so I knew he was ready. And that ball came, and he hit it, and he swung, and he hit that ball, this crisp hit right up the middle, and scored 2 runs. We win the game. I can see on his face, he is relieved, he is happy, he is proud, he has all kinds of emotions for a lot of different reasons. We're driving home, and my pleaser son. Okay. We're talking about it and doing stuff. And he just kind of says, he goes, and he asks me this from time to time. He goes, Dad, so are you proud of me? And I look at him and I was like, buddy, I said, I'm so proud of you. And I said, but I want you to know why. I said, I'm proud of you because you went up there and you hit the ball. I'm proud of you because you stood in that batter's box and you played the game. And you didn't play to lose, Josh. You played the game to win. You stood and you swung and you hit it. And I would be so proud of you even if you went up there and you struck out and you were swinging and trying to play the game. Because, Josh, in your life, that's what will matter most. That attitude, that approach is what will matter most. A lot of you, when I talk about your approach to these fundamentals, I want you to play to win the game. I want you to go in there ready to hit the ball. Don't just go through the motions, hoping that they suffice, hoping that magically something will just appear. Go in there with conviction. Go in there to win. Go into those actions endowed with purpose behind what you're doing, your approach, because you want to win. That will make a difference. So, the fundamentals. Talk through maybe why people don't engage with them and maybe the proper approach to do that. You've got a month now between now and Summit. 4 weeks, 4.5, 5 weeks. What are you going to do? And honestly, you've got to break that down right now. It's a great time to do that. Look at yourself. Look at the fundamentals. In that 4-week window, I'm going to invite you, and Chelsea, Rob might tell, but I don't want you to focus as much on the outcomes. Those are okay. But I want you to focus more on what you can do. And holding yourself accountable to doing those things, getting in that batter's box of your business, ready to hit the ball, not chasing secrets, not getting caught up in comparison games. I'm sanding and painting every single day. I'm going to discipline myself to these approaches. And every time I step in the batter's box of my business, I'm looking to hit. I'm looking to help somebody. I'm looking to make a difference for somebody's life because it matters. What we do matters. If you guys will do that in these next 4 weeks, I hope you will come find me at Summit and tell me about it. So anyway, that's all I got. Hopefully that was okay, Chelsea and Rob, for freestyle.
I think I cried twice. I hope you have a mic to drop because, I mean.
Baseball.
Woo! Kim, you always bring a story that we get lost in this case too, and it just punches you in the gut and it stirs your soul in all the right ways. And this is
good. I hope it's memorable. That's why I put them in stories, because then you can hopefully go put them into place. That's what matters most to me.
And I really,
not to entertain you, but to help you make a difference.
Yeah, and I really love the challenge because I think, like you said, a lot of us focus on the outcomes just because that's naturally what you can see, what you can focus on. And if you can keep your focus on the small details that will achieve those outcomes instead, then you'll always win.
Yeah.
Regardless.
One of our mantras for working out for the last year, and it's really, we hit a plateau for a while and we've burst out of it, is that the prize is the process. And when you accomplish a goal, if you're in that mindset, it's like, well, what do I do next? Not because I need more, money or customers or coaches. You see the people who do it again and again and again. And it's not because they're greedy. It's because they love the process. And
the process.
It's like I love to swing. I love to go for it. And I think that this call to action, especially right now, is so timely because it's like it's just about showing up and taking action when belief is shaky for so many people. There's butterflies to chase in the outfield and a sun to stare at, and I don't know what else happens in a baseball field. I don't know. But there's distraction. So we just want to thank you so much for being so generous with your time after work and everything that you do for us. And as a reminder to everyone, add Kim on Facebook and keep an eye out for his trainings that he does all over. Because imagine this for was it 2 hours?
I think it was 2 hours.
Was it a 2 hour training?
3. It's long.
I love
depending on what you want to do, but yeah.
It was incredible. And he's so dedicated and gives so much of his time to the network to share these things. So if you can get to a local event, do it. But We just want to say thank you, Kim.
No, thanks you guys. I really appreciate it. I was sincere when I said I love working with you guys and this team. It's awesome. So thank you for allowing me to freestyle with you. It felt a lot better than my bullet pointed things I was going to go through. So.
That was great.
Well, thank you so much. And please thank your family for
Yep.
this time away from them. And thank you all for being here on tonight. And hopefully we all go out right now and we play to win and we swing to hit home runs, not just to play it safe and play defensive, because there's a lot on the line. So thank you guys so very much.
Thanks, guys. See ya.